Liquorland are proud partners of the DeeBrief for another season of footy, and they have all your drink needs for when the siren calls. Pop into your local Liquorland today or shop online to pick up all your favourites in time for the game. Liquorland, from the land you love, please, as always, drink responsibly. Let's crack on with the show. We all got the response we wanted, but there's plenty of work to do with North in our sights and a chance to start building some genuine momentum. Welcome to the official, unofficial podcast of the Melbourne Demons, the DeeBrief. I'm your host, Adrian Horton, and tonight, very intimate, just the two of us. Tom Marcazzani, welcome.
Hello.
Nice cord pants.
Thank you.
They're very nice. Where'd you get them from?
Etsy.
Etsy. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to get on there.
Get
I
on
need
there.
a pair. Look how, like, this isn't good for all the audio listeners, but look at these bad boys. Like, they're faded. They're shit trackies.
Yeah, you've also got a baby, so I feel like you should probably stick to wearing shit clothes for a little while longer.
It's true. I was out the other day, actually, and I said to someone who was across the table from me, didn't have kids, just a random, having a bit of a laugh, because old mate Harry was running around like a headless chook, and he did a massive vom down my chest about a minute later.
Nice.
Guy just looked at me and he's like, "Oh, looks like a handful, mate." He's like, "Me and my missus are trying at the moment." And I was like, "Don't do it, mate.
Don't try so hard.
But then he said, "Oh, look at your shirt." And I go, "Yeah, you got to wear a shit shirt out, mate."
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But mate, Monday night we'll talk about it quickly, and then I want this to be more of a discussion about, like, where are we at? We're 4-2. We haven't been playing well, but we're building into the season. There are definitely a few things that are going right for us, definitely a few things that we can improve on. But I was with you for the last post, and I didn't talk about it too much with Scotty in the review pod yesterday, just because Scotty wasn't there. He had to be at home with the kids. But I was watching the last post with you, and the stadium was jam-packed, and it's just so beautiful. Like, I was getting shivers during it. The neck, the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up. It just made me thought, like, when I was watching it, we spoke about it in our preview show, but, like, it's so amazing to be a part of this occasion. And I feel like year on year it's gotten even better. And now I feel like even the neutral supporters are, like, tapping into the idea of Anzac Eve, the night occasion, and it was just beautiful, and I wanted to make mention of it because I think the ceremony and the way they do it absolutely hits the mark for what the occasion's all about, and honouring all these people that have served the country.
The AFL do a lot right, and Anzac Day and Anzac Day Eve and the whole weekend is just another great example of that. Tipping their hat to some very important people from the past and present, and yeah, the feel there is, we've kind of made it our own. We'll never compare it to Anzac Day itself, but it's nice to have our own little thing. And I think at night time it can get really eerie when there's not a word said amongst the whole crowd, and everyone just, like, is really respectful in that moment, and with the torches on and everything. It's just visually it's awesome. Your senses, it's kind of a bit interesting. Anytime you're at the MCG and there's that many people there and it's really quiet, it's awesome. As you said, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and it's just a really nice time to, I guess, reflect. And yeah, we probably don't do that enough. And it's one of my favorite games, I think, for sure.
And also, I was thinking as well, like, we've gone into the last couple heavy favourites, and Richmond have thrown the kitchen sink at us both times. Didn't get up, obviously, but it's now becoming an occasion where it doesn't matter where you are on the ladder, whether you're undermanned. I think both teams understand the significance of the match now, and it's one of those ones where I think in future years it'll be completely irrelevant. If you're first or if you're sitting toward the bottom, anyone can win on their day. It had that sense about it for about 2.5 quarters as well, because Richmond was speaking about it off air. Like, they really took it up to us. They were bloody good.
Yeah, there's a whole build-up, and I'm sure the players go through, like, a massive thing during the week. We spoke to Bailey Fritsch last week, and he said that they went to the Shrine, and the Richmond players would do their thing in whatever capacity. I'm sure they have a bunch of people that speak to them about their own experiences or family members who have experienced, the ultimate sacrifice. You go through all these analogies, and at the end of the day, I think they just know that they have a responsibility to just perform and play in the spirit of the game, take on the spirit of the Anzac, and just play with a bit of freedom and just intent and just to go hard. And I guess that was encapsulated by, Jack Viney winning the medal, and you kind of it was a bit, I don't know. I couldn't really pay attention to who was best on. Maybe because I had a few Richmond supporters around me who were just like, it got a bit heated, man. But like,
Really?
yeah. They were just fucking like, they were just these bros who were just like, a bit younger and just like,
Bit of yap.
yeah, they were just like, they were yappy very early and letting us know. So like there was a battle within a battle for me. Like I just wanted them just to shut the up. And yeah, I didn't really take a hell of a lot of notice from Viney, but you just know that like I watched back the game, and then obviously the way he played is the way he plays always, right? And he mirrors that. I don't know if you want to call it Anzac spirit, we'll call it that, but like just he gives it his all, and in the trenches, all these things that he kind of like uses. So
it's called mongrel bastard to us. So
yeah, and he does it every week.
Yeah, and he's getting better. The thing I love about his game as well is I feel like he's starting to tidy up. Like he's getting a lot of ball on the
so
outside
much
now.
more composure and just a bit cooler and calmer in his delivery in whatever he does. Back in the day, I felt like it was a bit of a hit and miss with his goal kicking, but he seemed to really just like, he just kicks goals when he has the opportunity these days. And he kicked an important goal for us early on.
Yeah, it was good. Maybe a bad omen when you came over and stood with me in the first quarter.
Yeah, I was like, I'll kick it with you for a bit, and then we were horrible. I was like, I'm getting out of here, man.
And it was Cumberland, who we were speaking about, that was tearing us up. He was amazing in that first quarter. It was good that we clamped down on him for the last 3 quarters, but he was murdering us. And we were just looking at each other. We were like, what the hell, man?
We said before the game as well, obviously with Lynch out, who is their key post up forward, that, he's someone that should be taken very seriously. Yeah, he kind of kicks goals every time he plays, and he's a funny kind of matchup. I can't really make out who best to kind of like run with him, but he's good on the ground. He can take a grab. And the other person is, and we spoke a lot about him in our thread, but Jack Riewoldt. I mean, for me, he's a bit, I don't know him personally, clearly, but like he's just not someone that I kind of like a hell of a lot. But
from a personality perspective.
But as a footballer, I mean, far out, man. Like he just kicks goals and like has done it for so long. Every time he gets it, it's goal. You know what I mean? Like he's so clinical in his goal kicking. He did miss one, but like that's a rare thing. Like I feel like every time he has a set shot, it's just like such a simple routine. He pobs it in. That's a new word. But and he's marking, like he still gets up. Like he's kicked 400 goals at the MCG. Like, yeah, I take my hat off to Jack. Well done, mate. You're a superstar.
He is. Did you see who was 4th on that list back on the coverage of goals at the MCG? So I think you had
Richo's one.
Matty Lloyd.
Yep.
And then you had Jack Riewoldt.
Maybe it was. I thought Jack was 4th. Who was the other?
No, the other was on 396. And it was
Nita.
Nita.
Yeah.
Don't forget Nita.
Yeah, so he's 3rd on the list.
4th.
Yeah. And then they had another list, which was like most goals at a venue, and I
Yeah.
think Coventry had something ridiculous at Victoria Park. It could have been like 600 or 700, which would simply not get beaten.
Yeah, we shouldn't go through the list of most losses at the MCG.
No, that's not needed.
Yeah, no.
But this season, we're starting to make the G
Yeah.
our own, which is something that well, Bailey said it last week that they obviously, as they being the players, really want to make it a place that people fear to come to play us. And I don't know if that'll ever happen because the MCG is just like a favourite for everyone.
Except for Collingwood, I think it's different for them.
In what sense?
Just the way that their crowd get behind them.
But okay, I won't include the teams that have a lot of home games at the MCG. But if I'm thinking about other clubs, it's not like a Cardinia Park. It's not like an Optus Stadium. Like the MCG is like every kid dreams of just being there.
Yeah, it's communal.
Yeah. But so I don't know. I mean, I hope that at one point people fear playing us there, but I also just think that like everyone loves playing the Chiefs.
Yeah, of course. And the big thing for me though is the noise in the atmosphere at the moment.
Yeah.
We had a great turnout for the Sydney game. It was about 42-ish or 42 and a half, I think, off the top of my head. Doggies was 48, and then we have the 84 against Richmond on Monday night. But the big thing for me, I'm going to say it again, like the Melbourne supporters were loud. Like we were loud. We were calling for some of the calls that Collingwood supporters typically would. The vicious nature of the crowd at halftime, like booing the umpires, it was incessant. Like we wouldn't let up. And I reckon late in that third quarter when it got really intense, I looked down at the bay next to the MCC where all the Melbourne members are, Melbourne Football Club members, right? And they were going nuts. And I believe that the pendulum has swung a bit in 2023. We were placid last year. Like let's be honest. Like we're at the games, we're sampling it, and Melbourne probably coming off the back of the flag. We're like, yeah, well, we'll rock up. We'll still be here. But there's a genuine not a nastiness, but like there's a genuine bit of heat being applied from the supporters. I'm loving it. Like when Van Rooyen took that mark.
But even like it kind of started with Clary when he kicked that goal. I feel like it was
loud.
Yeah.
Like loud.
Yeah.
Like unbelievably loud. People were going berserk. So
and I mean like you look at and we will never be in Collingwood. I think we both know that.
No one can.
And you see what it does.
Yeah.
Like it's you talk about the 19th man on the field, like
it's insane.
It's like a 20th man for Collingwood. Like in looking at the Anzac Day, you could just the actual day itself. Once they just they get that run on, it's just like you get the Collingwood chant, and it's just like they're just riding everything, and they're just it's intimidating. It's intimidating.
I wanted to ask you this. Because you've been to a lot of Melbourne games over the journey, many, many Melbourne games, especially at the MCG. But once upon a time, I vaguely remember, probably like childhood days, Melbourne used to put up a Melbourne.
Yeah,
we used to do that chant, right? For whatever reason.
The chants in AFL aren't...
no, they're not.
Aren't very imaginative.
They're not great. They're not like English football, which is big passion of mine. But the Collingwood chant is enormous. It's incredible. I've heard it reverberating around the stadium last year when we played them in both of those games. I'm jealous of it. But what happened to the Melbourne chant? Like, we're doing it in a similar way. I can probably answer that question.
We had about 15 years of well, we know what it was.
It's called 2007 to 2015.
Yeah.
Where we dropped our bundle. But I really hope this isn't a call to arms, but like if Melbourne can embrace the way that we have embraced the Roo chant when he goes up for a grab or gets the ball, kicks a goal, and then we all go nuts and we do the big Roo chant. Like I would love nothing more, Marca, than to do the Melbourne chant and bring it back on King's birthday if we were to kick a sealer hypothetically and just rub it in their faces.
Well, it's funny you say that because when you mentioned the Collingwood chant, I immediately thought of when Geelong did the chant to them in the 2010 grand final.
Yeah,
And like,
that's sick.
there's nothing like, there was, you could just tell the Collingwood fans were just absolutely hating on it. But, you know, they did the Geelong, and it's just a little FU to them.
Can we do it then?
Oh, we can. I mean, if you want to start the chant, go for your life.
I'm starting. I'm definitely starting the chant. Also, another funny one, and I want to talk about where we currently stand at the moment, how we're going, where we can improve. It's probably a good time now because you're a quarter of the way through the season, 4-2, sitting third, healthy percentage. Who the other contenders are, what we're thinking about them, where we're probably seeding ourselves in terms of performance.
Yep.
I know all the media outlets like to do the seedings and rankings, which I actually like, to be honest. It's a good measure of where teams are.
Is that the power rankings?
Yeah, I don't mind them.
We're third.
I think it's the second or third, which is probably where I'd put us anyway. But I'm looking ahead as well, and I wanted to do a little bit of Freo watch. When Freo come to town to play us at the MCG, they're coming off the back of Brisbane at the Gabba, Sydney at the SCG, and then I think it's Geelong at home, which I'll probably lose anyway. And then they've got Hawthorn sandwiched in between. Then they've got to come and play Melbourne, right? They might get to that game marker, and it's like we can like put a genuine nail in their coffin and like send them right toward the bottom of the bottom four. I keep looking at that fixture going, I reckon the atmosphere and the Melbourne fans on that day, because it's such a weird situation with Jackson getting their first round pick.
Yeah.
I've kind of circled that one on the calendar, and I'm more excited about that game than maybe any other game outside of Carlton on a Friday night and Collingwood on King's birthday. Like I've never been excited for a Freo game at the MCG in my entire life, but this one's got edge to it.
Especially because they got us at the G last year.
Exactly.
May went down, I think, in the first 10 minutes or something. We were up by probably 20 to 26 points. Like me and Maury, shout out to Maury. Definitely won't be listening, but shout out. We were dancing. We were dancing like in the first quarter. He was definitely dancing more, but it was just like, oh, we're looking great.
You were like 11-0, here we come.
Well, I had a little break in my studies and I came back to Melbourne for a few weeks and then I saw the first 3 losses at the gym. It was like loss. I was like, oh, I've timed this well.
Go home.
But then, they came back and they played awesome. And, so, and then, well, obviously we took care of them. Like, we played one of our better games when we played them over in Optus. Yeah. But, well, yeah, we 100% owe them. And you're right, there is a bit of extra spice in this one, which is cool. And yeah, how well is Freo Watch going? Like I just, I sent you that thing of Cal Toomey, how he's like, if Melbourne like package up their picks, they have an opportunity to like, land Harley Reid. And if you're listening, you don't know Harley Reid. Harley Reid is basically number 1 pick this upcoming draft, and he's from
comparisons.
He's from Bendigo. He plays like Dusty, like it's just. But have you seen?
Don't say it so flippantly.
No, but like, man, from what I've seen, like he's doing more than what Dusty did at that age.
It's crazy.
But like, obviously, like it doesn't. I'm not gonna sit here and say that he's gonna be like Dusty because there's only one Dusty, but. We all like to compare players when they're in their like under 18 year. Yeah. It's just the way the business is, and he has a really good fend on him, and he kicks goals and he's powerful. So it's like, okay, who do you go for?
I've forgotten who the player is, and I'll get back to Harley Reid quickly. But when they do the comparisons on draft night, they typically like pick top brass.
Yeah. They always reach higher than what the player like.
But I've got to go back through and have a look at the article and maybe dig it out for the next pod because it'll take me a little bit of time. I think it was Fox Sports or afl.com.au. They did a comparison with a guy that came in like the early 20s, and the player they compared him to was a spud, like an actual spud, like a player that most like neutral supporters would agree, oh, he's like not much chop. And it was hilarious because you've got like all these players. You got like Dangerfield, Petrarca,
A
Martin,
power mid. He's like
Jeremy Cameron.
He's a Degoe.
And they've just got like whoever the fuck it was. They've just got this absolute spud. So I need to go and find it.
Lockie Plowman.
Yeah, probably Lockie Plowman, who we tried to convince to put a trade request into Melbourne one night when we were with him, but it never happened. So
Thank God for that.
No, that's all right. I think he's mates with Adsy.
But going back to like how we're going, I feel like going into the season, it was such an unknown, and the nature of the competition at the moment is it's so evens, and as we've seen, if you're off your game, you can just get pipped by basically anyone, apart from almost the next 3 opponents that we have, which is awesome. But you take 4-2.
Yeah.
And you look at the ladder situation, and everyone's kind of had their moments. And, I mean, there's a bunch of teams on, is it 16? Are we on 16 points or 20?
16.
16 points.
So it'd be 4 times 4.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of teams on 16. And I also, like, if we had Gorn playing every game, May playing every game, Lever playing every game, and we were 4-2, I would have been a little bit more, like, apprehensive. But because of the way we haven't like truly settled as a team.
No.
And you know, it's a testament to our list how we're 4-2 and the depth that we do have. But you know, we're realists. We know that for us to go the whole way this year and to do any good, we need those players that I just mentioned to have continuity. And there's a few people at the moment who are coming out and like questioning May's form. I have no doubt that May's going to come back and play the footy that we've seen him play for the last few years. But that requires him to stay on the park and to play with Lever and to play with Chris and to play with these players, you know what I mean? And it also means that we want Gawn and Grundy to continue to build, and I just like this. I don't know what the ceiling is for Gawn and Grundy, but mate, like I think it's going to be pretty special.
Well, it's working well.
Players. It's working well, and to think that they've, you know, Gawn hasn't been there for whatever it was, 3 or 4 weeks. Like, who knows what it's going to be doing towards the end of the year. So I'm really happy with where we're at, especially given the teams that we're playing in the next 3 weeks. And I think we can really set ourselves up, and hopefully everyone stays on the park, like those key pillars that we mentioned, and just to settle and to get some real confidence in the group, and just to go at the mid-season and maybe having only lost 3.
Do you know what the good thing about Gawn and Grundy is? Grundy is unbelievable from a tap ruck perspective. He's actually a freak. I went back and watched the second half because that's when we started to get the ascendancy from clearance. We were getting murdered in there. Like Taranto and co were doing a really good job and doing a bit of a number on us. We weren't perfect in terms of the way we were exiting clearances. We were like one handball too many.
We haven't been perfect all year.
Player holding onto the ball for too long. Those types of scenarios happen way too often. But the one thing I wanted to go back and look at was Grundy. Grundy's tap work was phenomenal. Then you parlay that into Max Gawn and his contested marks in the front half, in the second half, and he started to, I guess, burden that responsibility of we needed to get more grabs in our forward half, and he absolutely dominated. He had 6 contested marks for the game, which is unbelievable. It's a stupid number. Yeah, like 2's okay for like really good for a game.
Yeah, but like that's
max.
That's the reason he's got 6 All Australian jackets.
Yeah, but the crazy thing was just watching them in that third quarter, especially. Grundy's doing his thing. He's starting to like win nearly every single stoppage in centre clearance, tap out, and he's like putting it down the throats of our, you know, Rolls Royce mids. And then
the two-handed taps, which are nice.
But then you've got to contend with Big Max, who's just like in the forward line doing as he pleases, taking grabs. Yes, he tried to do a Hollywood kick on the run.
Yeah, love it. Go for it.
I thought go for it as well.
100%
Some
go
people
for
were
it.
bagging him in the stands, and I turned to them and had a go at them. I was like,
Yeah, no.
I was like, the opportunity was there. He took ground, and he thought, I'm going to have a whack.
Yeah.
And who knows? It's a 50-50 proposition.
If you have a
with him.
chance to do a captain's goal, you take it.
100%. So I was okay with that. But it's just such a headache for opposition teams, particularly those ones that are like, you're in the game, Richmond, and then Melbourne just go, all right, slight tweak. Grundy, you're going to take the centre clearances and the stoppages, and we're just going to put you on the ball pretty much the whole quarter. Max, you're just going to sit up forward and start clunking them for us and start making a nightmare and a mockery of the opposition defence. If you're Damien Hardwick and you're sitting there, you're doing like, fucking hell. Like, everything was going to plan. Like, I actually think that was one of the key tactical switches
He mentioned that.
that won the game.
Hardwick mentioned that. And he also, like, obviously you just gave huge kudos to Max, and rightly so, but Hardwick was claiming that it was Grundy that really changed the momentum of the game. And it was so important for Max to do what he did up forward because, yes, JVR had a massive last quarter, but, like, without Brown at the moment and with a T-Mac who hasn't been in form for a very, very long time, he needs to do that.
Yeah.
And, like, I just mentioned Brown, and I think for us going forward, if we're to do some damage later on in the season, we need him in the team, I think. No, I know. I reckon we really need a Brown.
What is the best mix then? Because I put it up with Scotty.
We're still figuring that out, but I
don't know what it. I actually don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I go between so many different combinations, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But at some point in time, and I was calling for a bit of calm. It's not a concern yet.
No, there's so much footy to be played, but it's like
when do we need to figure it out though, Marco? Probably post-bye, you'd want to have your right mix. I would have thought.
I mean, it all depends on clientele and availability and seeing how it works and shifts. But I personally think that Gawn, Grundy, JVR, Brown can all play in the same team.
Yep.
I reckon. And
so Brown's the one for you.
Well, like I just think going for in finals, like you need, and history says, I think I remember doing something last year in the thread. The only team that has ever had one key position forward in their team to win a flag, it was 2017, and it was Jack Rewalt.
Yeah.
JVR isn't Jack Rewalt.
No. Could be better though.
He could be, but at the moment he's not, right?
Yeah.
And there's been two like key pillars in the forward lines of premiership teams every single year. I think I did it from like year 2000. So it's, they don't have to kick bags, but like you just need them. You need them, and and Brown was playing so well at the start of the year. Very unfortunate with this, but backs are just such inconspicuous, just like kind of weird.
I feel like backs are for people like us though, average Joes who are just, trying to enjoy life for what it is, not athletes.
Well, he's tall. He's a long back.
Yeah. But I lean more towards a Ben Brown coming good, staying in the team. The other big thing about Ben Brown, if he gets up and running again, he's clearly proven in September when we won a premiership, he was pivotal. He was so important.
100%. In the prelim, he was massive.
And he alleviates pressure off JVR. And he allows JVR...
It's only going to be better for him.
Yeah.
Only going to be better for him. And they play a different way. I mean, Ben Brown is kind of like in his own realm the way he plays. Like, I can't really remember a player who kind of plays that, quite one-dimensional, but like that one dimension, he is just like perfect at it in the way he just leads straight at the ball. He gets his arms up. His kicking routine is just like next to none.
Is it first defender as well that we take a Ben Brown?
Well, okay. Let's talk about the teams that we would most likely play in the finals. So
Contenders.
you go to Brisbane.
Go to Brisbane then.
Harris Andrews.
Yep.
He has to go to Brown, right?
Yeah.
Say we don't have Ben Brown and it's just JVR. Harris Andrews beats JVR. Like, Harris Andrews is a very, like, he's a serious defender and he's just strong and big. Like, he's too strong for JVR. He's too good.
So Gardner would be probably the second best back for them. Tall.
Yeah, Starcevic usually goes to Fritsch.
Yep.
You know, and already I'm much happier.
Same. It's true. Then you go to Collingwood.
Collingwood, then you've got, you know,
More.
almost. He's the best defender in the game at the moment.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
Genuine.
He's
freak.
a serious player. So
And a classy man.
yeah.
Yep.
But you know, given Brown's reach, if you kick it well to him, he's really hard to stop.
Yep.
So then, who's the second best defender that plays on him?
Well,
On a JVR, Murphy kind of has come out. He was semi doing stuff. They've got
Jeremy Howe's
Frampton, Billy Frampton.
Yeah, but he's playing up. He played up forward. And
Oh, they've got heaps of swing, but like Kruger, I don't know what Kruger.
What
he
is Kruger?
I don't know, man. He didn't do much for me.
But Billy Frampton is potentially the one. But you're right. Like he's a bit of a swing man as well.
But I like JVR's mobility compared to Frampton. Like Frampton's he's a bit slow moving, and
I think you're right. I think the more I think about it from just a tall forward perspective, we've got to find a way to get BBB up and running.
And then let's go to Geelong. Tom Stewart, who's in the top 3 best key defenders in the game.
Yeah.
May and Moore are the other 2. Probably Harris Andrews is like in 4th or like, you know, near.
Yeah.
He goes to a Brown.
True.
Or who else do they have? They don't have a crazy tall like the Stewart plays. I mean, he's just a freak, right?
Yeah.
He's such a good player.
Well, College Asney's like he's very.
But he's more suited to JVR than Brown.
Yeah.
Brown I would love a College Asney on a Brown.
Same.
But they're putting Stewart on him, right?
Yeah.
Who's another contender? Who else? Sydney. I mean, Sydney. Their defense is actually quite rocked at the moment with a few.
They're completely rocked, and Sydney have had the luxury of the McCartan brothers just doing their thing. Rampy's been able to like zone off and get off the chain and essentially do what Lever does as well. Isn't it amazing though? I think about all these defenses. Like when you lose one key pillar, it absolutely like
changes
rocks you.
everything.
Collingwood, fair play to them. I saw an injury ladder today, like games lost. They're like sitting third most games lost from injuries. And yet
Kruger was their ruckman on the weekend.
They're rolling out personnel and their system still stacks up and they're still getting it done, which probably begs the question. This halftime break is thanks to Liquorland. Liquorland have all your drink needs for when the siren calls, like the new Hahn Ultra Low Carb Beer, which is available in 6-packs or cartons, or otherwise, as we know here in Victoria, slabs at your local store.
Low carb, you reckon?
Low carb, yeah, not your thing.
Not at this point in my life. No,
okay.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Yep, each to their own. I know plenty of mates that like to do the low carb beers for different reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, well, they're probably
they're level headed and sensible, I would have thought.
Fair enough. We'll go with that.
Okay,
Play
no
on.
worries.
Play
Anyway,
on.
pop into your local Liquorland today to try the new Hahn Ultra Low Carb Beer, or shop online and click and collect in just 30 minutes. Liquorland, from the land you love. Liquor not sold to under 18s. Please drink responsibly. Let's get back into it. And before we talk about a game of footy that's happening on Saturday night, how do we think we're actually tracking? Like, where are we right now? Who are the other contenders we need to think about? Obviously, there's a long way to go. The first one I wanted to speak about before we do a full, I guess, U-turn and speak about Melbourne and where we think we actually stand. Geelong.
Yeah.
Geelong got to be the first one. Geelong, for me,
they're going to be up there, man.
I admire their attitude. This is what I like about Chris Scott. Even though, like, I think every, Victorian supporter that doesn't go for Geelong.
Everyone wanted to see them panic, but not for 1 second did they.
We do envy them, and we certainly don't like them. But their attitude was amazing when they were 0-3. Like, Chris Scott was like, "Fuck!" Like, Relax. There's a long way to go. Patrick Dangerfield, the way he was fronting up with the media, people are going at him saying, "Oh, he's the worst choice for captain." I'm like, this guy's a fucking champion. Like, calm down, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, they've got back to 3-3. The percentage is so healthy. They're now the highest scoring team in the comp. We're the second highest. We're only 2 points behind them. And they look like they're building nicely. They get to play Essendon off a 8-day break.
But what's Essendon's?
Like
4
5?
or 5? Yeah.
So you'd be a brave man to tip Essendon just purely on the fact that they've got the extra rest. So suddenly, Marca, they're sitting 4-3. They're nestled inside the top 8. There's a logjam with the ladder anyway. Like, I would actually be gobsmacked if
Who were their
Geelong
losses to? They
don't
lost
finish
to
top 4.
Collingwood.
Yeah.
They lost to Carlton. Who was the third?
The Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Suns. That's sick.
It's big. But they're going to be there, right?
100% they're going to be there. They're, they're a champion side. And then Hawkins is starting to, there was a lot of talk that he didn't have the preseason that he would have liked. And that's going to happen when you have an extended season, which they did. But you can tell that he's starting to get a bit more form back, which is always scary. And they have the best player in the comp, who is just doing things that just I haven't really seen from a key position forward since Buddy was in full flight, I don't reckon.
That is a great call, and I could not agree more with you. Jeremy Cameron is easily the best player in the comp right now at the moment. No disrespect to Clarence.
He's making it look so easy.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest position in the game. Like I always just think forwards are just better because it's just harder to play up forward.
Well, it was you, in your
Yeah,
heyday.
well, let's look at the camera here I had. No, it's just like, it's just to have the kind of influence that he's having on games as a centre half forward. It's just like you just want to sit back and watch and just clap your hands, and I think the whole competition's doing that. He's just in frightening form.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a joy to watch. Like I get a real kick out of sitting down and watching him. He's a freak. And the weird thing on the commentary against Sydney is they're saying he didn't really pick the game up until he was about 16 or 17.
What was he doing?
Apparently, he was just like a farmer, and he just didn't really care too much for sports or whatever. It was a really weird narrative. Mind you,
he just would have had a kick at lunch. Like, what do you mean?
I don't know. I'd had a few, so maybe it wasn't what happened. So I should probably go back and look. But apparently that was the case. Like, he kind of waltzed into footy later in life and picked it up. And I mean, it actually is astonishing what he's doing. So he's number 1 for me. Number 2, I would probably say second best player in the comp right now is Bont.
Yeah.
I think Bont's gone to a whole new level.
Yeah.
He's had to pick up the slack from Josh Dunkley. There were some numbers that were posted up on a program last night, and his contested numbers have gone through the roof.
And also, he bobs up for he takes contested marks. He's just, he's.
I love him.
I
think he's my favourite.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I know. I can't. He'd be hard to hate because he's a fair player.
I honestly, I don't know anyone that could hate him.
Yeah.
Like, even when he kicked that goal in the third quarter against us in the granny, I was just like, You were. No, I wasn't hating on him though. I was just like, oh my God, this guy is just like.
Yeah, go away. Let us win the flag.
He's almost had the medal around his neck already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just
And then
he's a freak. He's a freak, and he's done so much in his career. I don't know how many games he's played. Probably coming up to 200. But
it's this weekend.
Is that right?
200th.
He would have had the best first 200 games.
You queued that up. You knew.
Nah.
You knew.
I swear I didn't.
Yeah, it's 200 this weekend.
Well, he hasn't missed much footy. I can't remember him ever being having a long-term injury.
No. He actually is. He's an incredible footballer.
He won a best and fairest at the age of 20 in a premiership year. It's just, he's nuts.
Yeah. So I would say it's probably those two. And then
you can make a case for another 4 or 5 players.
I don't know.
Your Neils, your Clarys, your Jake Bowers. You could throw up just about anyone for that next slot.
Yeah. Throw Chris in there as well. We'll move on. Josh Schache's in, by the way.
Oh, he's in.
Yeah, so Harrison Petty's injured.
Right.
Yeah, and Josh Schache is getting a run.
Good on him, because I mean that's reward for effort, right? Because he kicked a bag recently.
He's been awesome. He's
Yeah.
done everything he can.
Yeah.
I've watched a bit of it. He's been great. I mean, you can't do much more than what he's doing. The great thing about it for me, Ben Brown, Tom
Can
McDonald.
we talk about Petty for a bit?
Yeah, we will, but Ben Brown and Tom McDonald are fit. But they've rewarded form at Casey.
Yeah.
And what have we spoken about?
We have to. Yeah, we didn't do it last year.
Reward the form.
And if you're going to have a second team,
Yep,
you may as well tap into the people who are actually putting their hand up.
100% reward the form. Harrison Petty. We were talking about it in the first quarter.
He's not a forward. He's not a forward. The way and the way that he competes as a backman is just he's ferocious.
He still competes hard.
Yeah,
He's
but
just
he
coming
just
from
doesn't-
behind too much.
yeah. Well, you know, what's one of the most important things about a forward?
Yeah, play.
You play in front.
Yeah.
I just like it's more about for me I can't see it. I like leading patterns, feel for the game, footy smarts. I'm not doubting that he doesn't have footy smarts, but in terms of like a forward capacity, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I don't know if it was last week or the week before where he just like completely ran under the ball and should have been like an uncontested mark. It's just a bit messy, and he's such a good backman. Like such a good backman. And I know it's horses for courses and we don't have a Brown there at the moment, or, you know, he's fit now, but for a period of time he wasn't, and Gorm was injured. And I get that. But when we start getting these players back, Petty's back.
I would have been completely chill with the idea of Petty getting another 3 weeks. Obviously, he's out injured.
What's the injury?
Don't know. But another 3 weeks.
He didn't get subject. Like he played
No,
out the game. It
no.
can't be.
Maybe it's like injured and they're just giving him a week off. They could have said managed if that was the case, but I don't know.
Well, that's good.
We can
If
delve
we're
into it.
doing that.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, we don't know. We have no idea because we have no idea.
We definitely don't have any idea when I'm like saying to people over the last 3 weeks, don't play Max, don't play Max, don't play Max. And then Max does what he does on Monday night. And if we don't play him, we don't win.
You play Max.
Yeah. So absolutely cook that one. We cook many on this podcast, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
The big thing with Petty for me, it wouldn't have bothered me if we had another 3 week sample size. It's probably not going to be the case, but it wouldn't have bothered me. Like, go and see if it can still work. Go and hone in on your craft on the track, blah, blah, blah. The only thing for me about honing in on your craft on the track is like, it's a natural thing, playing forward or playing back. And it's like sometimes it's like square peg and round holes. Like we've seen it over the journey. Like you cannot reinvent every single backman into a forward. I've always thought it's so much easier to start as a forward and then go back. We've seen that many times over the journey.
James Sicily.
Well, Liam Jones is probably,
failed forward. Darcy Morse failed forward.
Liam Jones.
Look what happens.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. And there aren't many that have done what Nita have done.
Mm.
Like actually gone from the back and then gone forward and become an absolute weapon, a freak. Like an absolute gun. Aaron Norton is a fantastic footballer. But we'll move on, then we'll talk team news quickly because I want to go through these contenders as well. So the other one I want to talk about is Brisbane.
Yeah.
So we spoke about Brisbane just
I think we
briefly
can
before.
agree that we, coming into the season, it was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But now I think we sit here and the changes that they've made to their team with what seems to be a 200-game player in Ashcroft and, you know, McKenna, he kind of goes under the radar a bit. They've got more finesse and they're just a bit cleaner. And, you know, they've always had Charlie Cameron, but he's the best small forward in the comp at the moment. And I think Danaher is like got a bit more of like he seems like he's playing a bit more like professional, if you want to use that word or something. He's just
not making brain farts.
Yeah, well, he's just like he just seems like he's on it a bit more. And you know, they got your Neils, and we spoke about Harris Andrews before about how good he is. They're going to be right up there.
Yeah,
they're going to be right up there.
I still question their mentality a bit.
Yeah, and like, yeah, Up in Brisbane, it's like, good luck.
Mm.
But you're right. They haven't proven that they can get it done consistently away from Brisbane. Granny doesn't get played there. But if I'm honest, I would hate to play them there in the final.
Brisbane.
Yeah, that's why it's just really important to secure a top 2 spot.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really difficult this year.
I reckon it's going to be the biggest logjam we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts, man. Like
Yep.
That's why at the moment our percentage is looking pretty, and that's going to be really important for us. But top 4, even like it's just going to be such a red hot year. Like you just look at the way games have gone, and it's just You look at the points. How many teams are on 16? There must be 6.
Yeah, there's Melbourne, Essendon, Adelaide, Brisbane, and Port. So there's 5 teams there.
Yeah.
And then you got Carlton, who have obviously got the draw, and they're on 14. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be tight. Brisbane they'll be around the mark. I've no doubt about that. But I still just question their mentality. Come down and play Melbourne when they're fresh, they're fit, and they're firing.
Yeah.
People will go, it's a bit of an excuse, blah, blah, blah. Mate.
Well, it's the reality of it. Like if
How many players have come out post that loss? Like Lever the other week being like, my ankle was completely cooked.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have played.
Yeah.
We know Gawn shouldn't have been playing.
Yeah.
We know Christian Petrarca shouldn't have been playing. That was pretty obvious. That was well documented. So I think if they get a Collingwood on the G, they get a Melbourne on the G in that situation, I still question it. But they're going to be there. So the other couple I want to speak about that I think are contenders at this very point in time, I don't want to speak about Sydney. They need to build form.
Yeah.
And they need to get players back.
Yeah. At the moment, they're not.
They'll probably get there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to speak about them because they're probably not in the frame at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think they're a proud club. They'll probably end up getting on a run at some point. But the other couple it's Collingwood, and then we'll end on St Kilda. So
I feel like Collingwood, do we need to go into... I feel like they're just so... Everyone talks about them. We know what they're capable of at the moment, but they just play with a freedom that is just unrivaled at the moment, and a belief that's scary, that's backed by a supporter group that's scary, and they have so many weapons up forward that bob up and have moments, whether it be Ash Johnson or Elliott,
Bobby Hill,
Mychek, Ginnivan, hate him or love him, he kicks goals.
Did you say Jamie Elliott?
Yeah, I said Elliott.
Yeah. Man, they've got a lot of weapons.
But then they've got midfielders who kick goals. Sidebottom can come in and kick goals. Pendles can come in and kick. DeGoey, he loves a goal.
They don't torch top sides, and they love the idea of mowing teams down. I still question how sustainable it is, and I still think they'll keep you in a game for long enough, because if you can take away their one wood,
they bleed goal.
Yeah,
they bleed goal.
Take away their one wood. Like, this is why I actually believe that a team like St Kilda, who are eerily reminiscent of us in 2021, the way that they're getting men behind the ball, I actually reckon that our mode when we're up and running defensively is the best defensive mode in the comp. Like, you shall not pass.
Yeah.
Good luck.
We haven't seen it for a hot minute.
But because we're adding the other layers, like we're a far more offensive attacking threat now, and we're adding those other layers, I still think we've got the game plan that can unsettle them. The only thing with Collingwood is if you don't do it for long enough and restrict them for long enough, they can kick 5-6 goals in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's why they're scary.
Yeah.
That's why they're such an amazing team at the moment and such a dangerous proposition. But I still have this belief that like our system can strangle them in the same way that like St Kilda nearly strangled them the other week. I just think St Kilda were just a bit off in terms of their goal scoring threat. And I reckon they went way too far the other way defensively. St Kilda got to back themselves a little bit more as an offensive unit because they've actually got some really good players there.
Yeah, well, at that time they didn't have a Membry or a King, right? But they had...
Yeah, and didn't have Steele shoveling it out. So, guys like Tom Mitchell have a field day because he doesn't have a person to worry about. But Collingwood for me, and we'll talk about St Kilda really quickly.
They're the informed team.
Collingwood are the number 1 seed.
At the moment.
Yeah. There's absolutely no doubt. I reckon they're the number 1 seed.
And so what the next couple of teams...
St Kilda's got to be in the mix at the moment. We've got to show them some due respect. And the one big thing for them, which is quite amazing...
And what are the two unknowns? Doggies are building.
Doggies are building, and they're starting to get their mojo together.
Yeah.
And they're starting to look good.
And then there's Port, who's just like such a wild card.
They're an enigma.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get. But you're right with the Dogs. Carlton can't be in the conversation because they don't have a game plan at the moment.
No, they rely too heavily on, and granted they're, two of the best players in the comp, but they just simply rely too heavily on them. But I don't doubt that they'll make the 8. I think they're going to make the 8. And they still are missing a couple of key players. They've got people like Lockie Plowman who are playing in their team, and I think if Lockie Plowman plays, they lose. I'm sorry, but he's just not up to standard. Their bottom 3 or 4 players are as bad as the worst 3 or 4 players on a Gold Coast or a Hawthorn or a North. They're so bad, man.
I'm going to make a reference
they're
here.
so bad.
I'm going to make a reference.
But their best players are as good as anyone in the comp.
The Lockie Plowman one's interesting. So this morning, there's a massive Premier League clash. I got up at 4:40 this morning, which was stupid. Very tired. The beer is helping, actually. Arsenal were playing Man City away. Man City absolutely destroyed them, wiped the floor with them. It was 4-1. And there's a guy called Rob Holding that plays at centre-back. So he's like your Stephen May.
Yeah.
But he's not Stephen May. He's like Tomo.
Okay.
Yeah. So...
Is there a Stephen May that's out of the team at the moment?
Yes, he's Saliba. So all the Premier League fans that are listening, some people write into the DeeBrief just wanted to talk Premier League with me, which is great. So keep doing it because I'm enjoying it. And there's this guy called Saliba that's been missing in their title challenge. And they drew 3 games before they had to play Man City. And they're basically title's gone. Because Man City are relentless. They're like a robot.
Yeah.
And this guy, Saliba's been missing. So they've been missing their Stephen May. And the other guy that stepped up's Tomo. And he's come in. Every single Arsenal supporter this morning was just messaging me being like, fucking Rob Holding. All blaming it on one guy.
Yeah.
One guy alone. So when you spoke about Lockie Plowman then, I was just it
triggered something.
Triggered me hard.
But yeah, I can't... They can't contend if people like him are playing. It's as simple as that.
I just got triggered again. Lockie Hunter's underground handballs?
We talked about it before the game. I think we talked about it the week before when it was wet, and it's just he... To be fair, there were a couple of instances where I was like...
It worked.
Yeah, that's the right option. But he loves it, doesn't he? Absolutely loves it.
I asked Scotty yesterday, and I was 3/4 of the way through finishing it and asking him if he thought it was a good idea, good strategy. And he just interjects perfectly and he goes, nah, fuck it off.
I see Lockie as someone who...
I don't know. He's been good.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been really good.
Yeah.
He's playing his role. He's keeping his width. He's getting us out of trouble at times. And every now and again, he's linking really well in scoring chains.
But
he's doing his job.
I think in a similar sense to Neil Bullen when we're firing... Those kind of players go to a whole new level and just add so much cream.
Yeah.
But when it's tough.
Yeah, I agree. There were times in the third quarter. There were times where I was happy with his intent and the way that he was coming up and meeting the ball. There were a couple of times where I was like, get your head over the ball, get in there, crack in.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a very, very small blot in his copybook at the moment that he needs to sort out. Just on St Kilda before we wrap up and we do our rankings and then quickly talk about North. Very quickly. Sorry, North. St Kilda have conceded 357 points and the next best defence is Geelong at the moment. They've conceded 459. That is outrageous. Derek's smiling over there, our producer. He's a big St Kilda man. They've conceded 102 points less than the next best. Ross Lyon to an absolute T.
The boss.
Like, it's working for them. They've scored 510 points, and there's quite a few other clubs that have scored more. But man, they are strangling teams, like strangling them into submission. So I'm
looking forward to tomorrow night's game because I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen a hell of a lot of St Kilda this year. I did see what game did I see? Yeah, sorry, Derek. It's just like, why aren't
look
you
what he's got on the
watching?
screen. Go Saints, together we rise. What is that? Your slogan? That's pretty weird.
But I think it's the same with Essendon in that it's obviously a new coach coming through and just like changing the mentality and he's just got them humming.
So where do you put him? Like, I know you haven't watched
No,
much.
but like I don't know because I can't really give like a detailed or like a, you know, my opinion is based off previous St Kilda, you know what I mean? Because I haven't seen a hell of a lot of them this year, but I'm looking forward to watching them tomorrow night, and from there, I'll give you a better indication.
They were 5-1 last year as well. People forget that.
Yep.
So, and they dropped away completely. I actually think it's real with them. Like,
well, I mean, you
believe
look
in
at
it.
the players that they've still got out, kind of thing, and
yeah,
surely they can only get better from here.
Yep. So I've got Collingwood number 1 seed at the moment.
Yep.
I think I've
Brisbane.
got. I think I got Melbourne second.
Okay.
I think the next 3 weeks are really important to just get our game plan in shape.
A game plan, but also continuity in clientele.
Clientele, you've used that twice. Yeah, it's interesting.
I think it's really important that we just get some synergy going on that we've had in the past, and we know that they can do that. But like, as we mentioned before early on the show, like with the key pillars that have been missing in and out of the team, it's really important that we get them back to playing premiership football.
I've then got Geelong in 3rd seed.
Yeah.
And I've bumped Geelong up into 3rd seed after watching what they did against Sydney.
To be fair, Sydney had a lot of outs as well, but it was men against boys.
Man, it was unbelievable. They still kept them to 30 points. It's ridiculous. So I think Geelong have got their mojo back, and I think it's only right that you tip your hat to a reigning premier, and it looks like they're roaring back into their season. I've got St Kilda in 4th seed. I actually believe in what St Kilda are doing, and I think St Kilda have got the system that could nullify like a Brisbane. Brisbane's all-out attack down the middle. It's like rapid. It's attractive footy when they get it going. It's pretty similar to Collingwood, to be honest. I think they would have enough defensive discipline to do a job on them. So that's why I've got them in front of Brisbane. I've got Brisbane in at 5th seed.
Interesting to see when they play each other.
Yeah. So that's what I had it.
Derek, when do you play Brisbane?
When do you play Brisbane? Oh, he's got the G train up. He's got the G train up on the screen. There we go. We love the G train.
Oh, right.
Oh.
That's right.
That's okay.
We'll let you get at that while we.
All right,
we'll talk. Any other seed, and then you throwing in like a Port and a Doggies kind of.
I think I'm throwing Doggies in at 6. Doggies are starting to build.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're starting to trend in the right direction. Port, who knows? Carlton, who knows? Sydney, you probably throw them in at 7, and you think they probably get their shit together again.
Yeah.
And then you just hope that Freo just completely plummet.
Oh,
it's going well. I heard on the TV before the words, probably the most disappointing team of the season so far. And I was like, fuck, this is bliss.
Because I was looking at the ladder, as I do most weekends, but I was looking at the teams that can drop below them from this point.
Yeah.
It's not many.
Not many.
Is it Giants?
So they're in at 13th. So Suns could go above them. North won't go above them. Richmond could eventually go above them. Yep. West Coast and Hawthorn won't. So I think the reality is with Freo,
I think the best
15th is the lowest they could finish.
Pick 4 is the best outcome for us.
Pick 4.
And the worst, I would say, is 10.
Yeah, maybe 10. Yeah, 10 or 11. Maybe even 11.
Imagine a pick 4.
Clayton Oliver.
Oh.
Pick 4.
Bundle up. Give us Harley Reid. Next
Yeah.
Dusty.
I'm into that
It's
strategy.
confirmed.
Josh Schache comes in.
We need West Coast to finish last if we're any chance of bundling up and getting
True.
Harley Reid, because the only reason why West Coast wouldn't take Harley Reid is because of the go-home factor. But I think if North or Hawthorn finish last, I think everyone knows that Harley Reid is the shit.
I don't know if we'll get away with bundling up. Like if you've got...
As in, like, you think it's a silly idea to put all your eggs into one basket?
No, I love the idea.
Or you don't think the other team will buy it?
No.
But I think it's a realistic thing if it's West Coast.
Yeah, if it's so
it's all about who they think is like gettable in the draft at, say, a 4 or 5 or 6, and if they think that they can get some talent in.
So we're hoping West Coast finish bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got West Coast to finish bottom and Freo watch. So we've got the whole WA thing going on.
Yeah.
Imagine
Freo came last.
Mate,
not going to happen.
I don't think they could.
It's not going to happen.
Josh Schache, Bailey Laurie out as the sub. So maybe he's the sub again if I just quickly check the teams and look at the emergencies. Yeah, he's in emergency. So the emergencies are Tom McDonald, Bailey Laurie, James Harms and Disco Turner. So it'll be one of them. I reckon it'll end up being Harms, to be honest. After his game last week for Casey, he'll be the sub.
What about Dunstan? 48 touches, 2 goals.
Yeah, and he's not even in the emergencies list.
Christ.
So you got to feel sorry for him.
What more can he do?
Well, he's doing everything he can, but he's on Melbourne's list.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Josh Schache, we spoke about it before, gets his opportunity.
There's a reason we drafted him.
It's great to see him debut, and he was always going to get a chance at some point, I reckon.
Yeah.
And take it with both hands, brother.
Yeah.
Like, we've got a bit of an issue with our forward chemistry. We've spoken about it before. We think that Ben Brown will eventually be the answer. But, like, Josh Schache, go and take it, mate.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
huge.
how good would that be if he came in and you know, showed a bit of maturity in his, I guess what you want to call it, journey. And he is a journeyman. I mean, this is his 3rd club. And crazy to think that he's only 25, 26. How old is he? 26?
Yeah, he'd be mid-20s for sure.
Like, it's...
Former pick too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, he seems like he's been around for so much longer, but he clearly has got something. You don't go pick 2 for no reason.
No.
So I think it's funny we kind of brought him in and we got rid of Wiedemann, but it sounds like that it's a bit between the ears with Schache as well. So, you know, mate, go for it. Have a crack.
Diesel, as they like to call him.
The Diesel.
Go Diesel. That's his nickname, apparently, fans. What was I going to say? So North Melbourne, just really quickly on them.
We're playing North Melbourne.
Coleman Jones comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Jai Simpkin, who's a very good footballer.
Is Larky and Zerha playing?
Yeah, they'll both be playing. Daniel Howes omitted, the Yarrawonga boy. Know his family. They're good eggs. Tarsi Ducker.
Have another crack at that.
Darcy Tucker omitted. I've had 2
Chris
beers.
Tucker, he's also playing.
Yeah. Will Phillips is omitted as well. So,
oh man, imagine picking Will Phillips ahead of Logan McDonald.
So they've got Nick Larkey in there, who again, very good footballer. They're starting to build something. Like Harry Sheasel looks incredible.
Yeah.
Cam Zerha is obviously a very nifty player. LDU.
Yeah.
Davies Juniac is an absolute jet.
Cunnington, it's nice to see him out on the park.
Awesome to see him out in the park.
It's just like, they're back. Is Mackay, is he back?
Yeah, Ben Mackay's in there. Look, they've got some
lose,
players. The weirdest and funniest thing the other night was just mentioning to Alex Zorkis when I had a beer with him before the game. Shout out to Zorks. I brought up Luke McDonald to him, who I think has played like 160 games. He's the North co-captain.
Yeah.
And he was flummoxed. He was like, who the fuck is Luke McDonald? Like, legit, you could see he was being genuine. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Luke McDonald, but he had zero idea who he was. I showed him a photo of him. He goes, I've never seen him.
Yeah, he's played, half-back, back pocket, all his career. He's a father-son.
Sorry, North. Yeah, we're kind of...
But yeah, he's like a bit...
Yeah.
Whatever.
We're being a little bit disrespectful. Just get the job done. The other thing I need to make mention of as well is Ticket Blaster are giving us free tickets now, all of a sudden, which is amazing. So I don't know if they'll
Any chance of a box?
Well, yeah, maybe. We can do a box Ticket Blaster, surely. But they...
Oh, no, we're not giving them away.
No, they're ours. They've got prime positioning in Medallion Club at the MCG. So
Is there a medallion club at the
correct.
MCG?
So
When did that happen?
I don't know, but Sam Adams.
Why would they call it the medallion club?
I don't know. They just
That's
want,
bonkers.
they just want the association. So Ticket
Yeah,
Blaster have hit us up, and Rob's been doing a bit of work with them, giving them shout outs. More so because it's a Marvel thing, but now they've transplanted it into the MCG.
You'd hate it if that was your home ground.
Yeah, of course. But it's level 2 seating in the Shane Warne stand, right on the wing, like prime posse. They've got a Legends bar, which is exclusive to Medallion ticket holders. So I'm getting excited about the possibility of a box Ticketmaster for us boys. But for anyone that isn't aware, like Medallion Club is a thing at the MCG. So
First I've heard of it.
I wanted to mention that. So Ticket Blaster are giving out some tickets. I've got to pick 2 lucky people. I've put a post out, or one person that's tagged a friend.
When are you picking it?
Oh, like tomorrow, but I don't understand. Like, how do I pick? Like, what's the criteria? You go down, you've got like 50 or 70 comments, however many there are. Like, what do I do?
I reckon you get your son to point at a name.
Okay, that's a good one. So I just get the laptop up and I scroll down and I just go point.
Yeah, you just like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's tough because you kind of, it's weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. So the thing is,
Unless there's a way to put them all in some kind of like online random generator, and that would take time, but that's the fairest way of doing it.
Fairest way. Although, like, my son picking it out would be pretty funny. So maybe I'll go with that.
So as you film it, so everyone sees it.
True. Legitimacy.
Evidence.
Verification. All those
sort of
things.
thing, yeah.
So I will be picking 2 lucky people to go to the Medallion Club at the MCG.
Huge.
Which is a thing. But that box that you mentioned it.
Yeah, Ticketmaster.
That would be...
Is it Ticketmaster?
Ticket Blaster.
Ticket Blaster. Not Ticket... No, we hate Ticketmaster. Ticket Blaster,
We
though.
love Blaster.
Blaster's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, my God. Ticket Blaster, that one time we got in the box.
Yeah, it was sick.
So sick.
Thank you so much.
Blaster.
That's us from the future. Last thing I'll say, and we'll do predictions. I'm hoping there's 35,000 there on Saturday night. Like, I can't actually be there. I've got to take care of Harry.
I'm looking forward to a quiet G again.
Yeah, but
it should have been. I mean, Nuggets mentioned
we're gonna have
this.
some Red Rock Deli. It's end of the pod.
Nuggets mentioned this. He said, "Why aren't we playing on a Sunday?" And I could not agree more. Like, it's a Sunday game during the day. Let us chill out. We just had a big old night game.
But hang on, as I eat chips and talk. Sorry to the listeners. It's the end of the pod.
Yeah. Everyone's gone home by now.
I need my sustenance. Yeah, we should have been gone 10 minutes ago. 35K though, probably unrealistic. Like, North fans probably won't rock up. What do you reckon? No. Yeah. I'm indifferent because our crowds have been good, but then we're coming up a bit of a cellar dweller, who I hope will be good in 5 years. Sorry, North. But, like...
Our crowds have been, like, good also because we've had pretty big oppositions.
Doggies, Sydney... Richmond, Anzac Eve, yeah.
Brisbane.
I'm just hoping it's not like a paltry 25 sitch, which I don't actually think it can be.
But I think Sorry, whose home game is it?
Ours.
Oh, yeah, it's at the G. But I think North they're fronting up a bit more.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because they've proven that they're more competitive, and they're in a different era now. They got Alistair Clarkson, so
I went to the North Melbourne game at Marvel last year. Have a guess how many there were. Can you get that one?
23.
12.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is dismal.
And do you know what? They were fucking loud. Like, actually loud. Because why wouldn't you be? It's the rusted ons.
Yeah.
Like, no one else would be there. I reckon there, and I'd legit...
Shinbone of spirit.
Mate, I reckon there were like 1,500 Melbourne fans there. Like, none of us wanted to go. So it was quite an honour and privilege to be there wearing the red and blue. I'm being a bit facetious, but I reckon 25,000 Melbourne supporters minimum will rock up on the weekend because we're going well. Club's in a great position. Cozzie's about to sign. Why not? And then maybe 10,000 Roos
Do you reckon
supporters
more
will
would
rock up.
rock up if it was during the day than a night game?
I think the night now. I always thought the night games are the ones you relish and you want to go to. But given
Yeah,
the
but-
circumstances
yeah.
of ladder position where both clubs are, it's kind of my situation. Fee goes, I want to go out that night. I look, first thing I do, and she hates this about me as a person,
Look at the fixture.
I just go straight to the fixture, like every time. She's like, you loser. But I go to the fixture and I go, this is me. I go, it's North.
Yeah,
You can go out.
Enjoy.
Like I'll watch it at home.
Yeah.
So I think there's a few people like me just being like, it's North.
Yeah.
But I do hope there's 35,000 there.
Yeah.
Just for my sanity. Because we're going well with crowds.
Yeah.
And 35 would be a good result.
I don't think you're asking much there.
No. So anyway, predictions.
Also, what's the weather like? What's the weather do? If it's raining, then it's like
I think it's
bye
cold.
to 30.
I think it's
Cold's whatever.
I think it's like really, really cold. But
Going
I think
back
it's
to Christian's comments last year about people not rocking out because it's cold.
Christian, why'd
that
you
was
say
horrible.
that?
But it's sunny.
Sunny and 15 top of. So
Nice. I like a cold night.
yeah, it'd be nice.
As long as it's not raining,
No.
that's fine.
Derek at Castaway Studios probably wants us to wrap up here. Sorry, Derek. We're meandering here at the end.
Where's the game tomorrow night being played?
Derek, are you going to the game tomorrow night?
I may,
Yeah.
recording
Okay.
till about the start of the game, and then I'm thinking of jumping on the 86
Yep.
down to Marble.
Oh, he's jumping on the 86 down to
Smart.
Marble. Good man. Get around him. Predictions. Melbourne will do what they always do against the lesser lights, and we'll come in. We'll just expect the 4 points. We'll scrap. We'll struggle a bit. We won't put the foot on the throat because that's not what we do as a club in these circumstances, and we'll end up winning by 5 to 6 goals. That's my prediction. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Can we just smash a team?
Yeah, no, I don't think we can.
We don't do it.
Um,
We never do it.
but weirdly, we do it against Sydney and like doggies in a way.
Yeah.
Hopefully we roll into some momentum from that last quarter. Which actually, that's not a thing. Rolling in momentum from the quarter. But I think you're right. I think North are a different North, and they have a lot of competitors in that team. Clarkson is one of the greatest coaches of all time.
And a competitor when he's a player.
Competitor, and I just think it's gonna be a bit of a fight, a bit scrappy. Sometimes when we play like the lesser teams, we kind of get down on their level, and I reckon it would be, but I reckon we're gonna win by 40 points.
Yeah. Probably similar areas to where I'm at.
Yeah.
Anyway, just go out and do the job. I hope Josh Schache has a great game as well.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing JVR.
Yeah.
Hopefully back it up as well. Surely you take a lot of confidence from that last quarter.
Yeah.
And as I said before, just let's get some continuity.
I've got Cade Chandler to continue his hot form and kick
man.
4. He's killing it.
When we need him,
Mm.
or when we need any player to kick a goal,
Yeah.
he's been the one this year that's popped up.
He's been amazing, mate. He's been absolutely amazing. So I'm hoping Cade can kick on and keep doing his thing. Thanks to everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. A couple of pods back to back, a Wednesday, a Thursday night tonight. Don't know when I'm doing the review show, but we'll sort that out. Maybe I'll even do it straight after the game because I'm at home. Get some
Special comments from Harry.
yeah. Get him on the mic. He's got 2 favourite words at the moment. He's got more and no.
More, as in more food?
Yeah.
Nice.
And no is in I'm not listening to you. I'm just going to attack this cupboard and pull everything out of it.
Nice.
That's 2 favourite words. So he's
more cupboard.
Yeah. No, he resembles his old man, who's pretty stubborn at the best of times. Enjoy the game on the weekend. If you're going, get down there, cheer loudly, and hopefully another 4 points, and we start to build into the season. We're not going at full tilt yet, but that'll come.
Long way to go. Go, Days.